Alright, so this is something rather different. I'm streaming directly from the desktop. I do not do this often, so I apologize for any things that go wrong. I did spend a lot of time yesterday trying to figure out exactly how to get this running correctly, because it just would not run correctly. But after dealing with my internet provider for a little bit, I figured out that it was a problem with them. So, right away, I'm going to do the exact same thing I have been doing for months and months now on my Instagram. I am going to just draw while I watch something in the background. So, if you want to chat, cool. I might see it and reply back. I might not. I have a few references pulled up here. I have a Joker reference, a page of Shane Gillis pinup style art, a page of just references, like reference poses, and I have a page of Frank Zappa, because I did want to sketch a Frank Zappa piece. Actually, I wanted to sketch it yesterday. He died December 4th, 1993, so that was... 16, 17 years ago. And I like to do a piece on people's death day and on people's birthday. So anyway, I'm just going to start sketching now and see how long all of this takes to actually show up on the live stream, and how much my latency is, and just everything, really. So I'm going to first... I'm using a pencil brush, and in the background here I have about Aleister Crowley, a 2019 documentary. I don't know if YouTube's going to allow that to just play in the background, or maybe it'll be muted. Maybe I'll be entirely muted for this, but who knows. Let's hope not.
This is Edward Alexander Crowley, also known as Aleister Crowley.
And the first thing I'm going to do, is put a dot up here in the corner, because it's a part that I can actually see on. Oh, let me just show you my full screen real quick. So this is what I'm working with. So this is the OBS thing right there. So right here we have my Photoshop, my layers. This was the layer of crap I did yesterday while trying to get this latency thing and everything correct. This is my page of references, like I was talking about. So we got Pinterest open for a few different tabs here. And I'm going to go through and sketch from each one of these. Alright, so it's about 35 seconds behind what I'm actually doing, just so you know. Okay, and I'm going to bring it back to just the audio and my display, my canvas, I mean. Yeah. Alright, let's start sketching that Joker face and see where it goes.
Essentially, Luciferian doctrine, that is the sigil of Baphomet, the symbol of Baphomet.
I have found that the very hardcore of all these secret societies lurks the cabal.
Oh, right. Actually, before I do that, I do not have a live stream actually opened anywhere, so I can actually see if you're saying words. In other words, let me do that. See, this is what I'm talking about when I mean sorry for any delays, because this is my first go around with what seems like a pretty decent connection. I guess we will see. Do what thou wilt. See, this is what I'm talking about when I mean sorry for any delays. See, that's me open on my phone right now. So I can see everything happening right there. And if you do say something, I'll know. Alright. So let's sketch. Oh, here's a question. Have I set something to the spot where it's not going to... No, it should be fine. Alright. I don't like that. Maybe I will go with just, yeah. I'm just going to go with the straight up brush. I'm not going to use the pencil brush, which means I'm going to go to a much smaller size because I want this to be the sketch. But yeah. This is how everything I draw starts. You get your circle. Connect how the tune is gonna. Brewing company. Holton Ales. I did not know this.
Now, the Plymouth Brethren were radical Protestants. You might even say pathologically.
Yeah, because I am working from reference, I really just need a basic sketch underlying here.
Particular book of Revelations, which is a constant echo throughout. For its imagination is the origin.
It wasn't my plan to actually just draw pictures. I wanted to actually just sketch at stuff, so maybe I'll switch to something slightly different after this doodle. What I usually do live with the traditional sketching is I will just sit and just sketch from nothing. I mean, I'll use reference sometimes, but a lot of the time it doesn't necessarily come from the reference. The reference is just an inspiration to start me drawing, I guess. Because really, when it comes to drawing, a lot of it is to do with just starting and pushing through and continuing to draw. See, you can listen to me talk to myself. If anybody does come in to watch for more than a few minutes, say hi. Okay, so it seems that a lot of this documentary is just text on the screen, which is going to be a problem because I'm drawing. So I'm probably going to have to switch to something entirely different as is when it comes to my background here.
You heard that there were secret societies whose members practiced dark and forbidden rituals.
Because I feel like I just missed a chunk of what the documentary is right then.
After 2 years of searching, he finally found what he was looking for.
And in his study of religion and philosophy, he encountered this idea of an invisible college, a place where spiritual topics, where mysticism and magic are taught to people who can locate the entrance to this mystical college. And he very much wanted to be part of that. And eventually he did find someone who was able to provide him an
Crowley and his
introduction
hog
to the
roads.
Republic Order of the Golden Dawn.
He discovers the golden dog. It's from here on really that he feels he's really onto something. This is something brand new. It's fresh. Bram Stoker's involved. Yates is involved. There's sort of literary sort of society law. He wants to be part of that as well.
Yeah, it's still lots of just information coming up on the screen. I'm going to stop once I get just the basic outline of the hair done and change that I apologize. There should really be some way you could just pause a stream. I don't know if there is. I know I can pause it on my side, but yeah. Actually, I think I have it set so you can even go back into live stream here. I'm not sure I'm entirely loving the angle of how I have his face here. It's right. But again, this is just the underlying sketch, so it doesn't really matter that much. Just here to be a little more messy with this one. Sorry for the delay. I get caught up sometimes. Alright, I'm going to just pause on my side. So I apologize for the mute, but I will be right back. Alright, This is, again on YouTube, some conspiracy theory. What is it? Do we really have freedom of choice? Conspiracy documentary. It looks like there's 20 commercials in this thing, too. I'm just going to sketch for a little bit, though, so I apologize for that delay. I hate choosing
Milk is an
things to
important
watch.
part of every good diet. Use the best grade of milk available to you. Disease may be contracted through drinking unsanitary raw milk.
I'm going to bring this down. And I haven't sketched in Photoshop in a long time. So I'm going to just mess with some stuff and see how it goes. And yeah, that's it.
In 2010, there was a simultaneous raid on 2 different locations in California. Heavily armed agents stormed into private properties, arresting several U.S. citizens for dealing in a restricted substance.
Now, why would I start right up with the hair? That seems like a bad idea.
It's just one of the ways the authorities keep us free from malicious and harmful substances. Only this wasn't a drug raid. The substance being sold wasn't crack or crystal meth or even bootleg hooch.
Bootleg hooch.
It was milk.
This is an example of just how heavy-handed the government is in routing out disfavored parties. In this case, the government operates on a public interest argument that raw milk...
Again, I'm just kind of going over what I have sketched there with a quick layer. This will not be the final layer. I like to do a lot of layers on a sketch.
Risk for consumers such that it shouldn't be available. This is the position of the Food and Drug Administration. And the government cracks down on this one segment. And they do so with brute force, sending in stormtroopers, essentially, and shutting down the milk plant in its entirety and confiscating all of the milk, regardless of whether it's contaminated or not.
So with these layers, I'd like to go darker than the final picture will be.
The FDA raided this organic market in order to keep us safe from the dangers of unpasteurized...
So I can work it back down to light, specifically with a Joker picture, because I like the idea of being able to add the makeup with the white back in over the top, so it feels more like the makeup. Or more like makeup.
A reputable farmer trying to sell some to willing customers? That's a big no-no. Although this organic market was a club, with each member having signed a waiver acknowledging the potential risk of drinking raw milk, this was not good enough for the FDA. Did these people not realize that raw milk is a gateway food? Next, people eating cheese? Knocking back raw oysters, sushi, or, heaven forbid, eggs? Luckily, the FDA was there to step in.
So this documentary is trying to be funny.
At gunpoint from the dangers of raw milk.
The reason why pasteurized milk doesn't come under this scrutiny, and the reason why raw milk as opposed to cheese, eggs, raw oysters, sushi, why they don't come under the same FDA scrutiny, is that the major milk manufacturers are a principal lobby within the FDA. They have very small profit margins per unit. And so if in Whole Foods and other places where
I'm kind of still looking at the reference, but also at this point I want to give it some heavy lighting on one side, so I'm switching the final look of this up when it's done.
Were not an isolated event. Over the past few years, there have been raids all across the U.S. to crack down on the sale of many organic products. But despite any claims of safety,
I like where the edge of the hair on this reference is lit.
Regulatory agencies,
The way it's lit.
by extension, politicians that manage them are not motivated by any notion of public good.
So that portion I'm going to incorporate into the rest of it, as though this was a lit, just straight lit photo shoot photo, as opposed to a walking on set photo.
With the U.S. political system is that it revolves around money. And so immediately that sets off this dichotomy of those who can afford to play in the system and those who can't. To run for office,
That is an important world dichotomy they're speaking about right there.
You need about $11 million to run for the Senate. So if you don't have money, where do you go? You go to the people who have a hand stretched out of money, ready to fund your campaign, but they're going to want something in return because, of course, they're not giving this money for charity.
I'm going to add more light to this portion as well.
It very clearly advantages big businesses because they have more capacity to devote resources to influence buying.
Political influence has become just another arsenal in the marketing toolbox of large companies. Only instead of promoting themselves, they use this influence to suppress the competition.
Yeah.
And to it all are lobbyists.
I'm going to do something real quick here.
Free market society, and we don't. Big government and big business are way too closely aligned today, especially in the United States. And this, you know, is because of lobbying, basically. We have cronyism. We don't have capitalism in the United States, especially when it comes to the military, and then big medicine, big food, like Monsanto, you know, with all the GMOs and stuff. Most people don't want it, but yet it's being forced on us.
I'm not live on Instagram right now. Okay, yeah, that's a stupid way to say that. I'm live right now on Instagram just to tell you that I'm live on my YouTube. So that's that Joker guy on YouTube. If you want to look it up, I'm sketching the Joker. Funny. But yeah, come say hello on my YouTube.
Lobbyists tend to be experts in the fields they lobby for. They advise lawmakers on how to make sure Americans are getting the most benefit from the laws they pass, while also reducing potential harm. It's a good idea. Why wouldn't you want an expert advice?
So, that was me telling people on my Instagram that I'm live on YouTube. And I'm going to also just put up a post that says live on YouTube.
Taking their connection and influence with them.
Right
This
now.
phenomenon is called the revolving door. People going from regulating an industry to working
That Joker guy.
in that same industry, and sometimes back and forth multiple times. Corporations
YouTube.com.
love having such powerful people on their payroll, so they do everything they can
/
to lure them over. And
That Joker guy.
therefore, the regulators help out by making a few choice laws to benefit their future employers. And with the spin of the door comes
And
a
there
host
it
of
is.
new laws that benefit some companies, hinder others, but business keeps
And I'm
rolling.
going to go back
And
to
in the
my
end,
stream.
No one really gets hurt, except of course.
And again, I apologize for that short blip.
You'll see members
I will get more used to this and start putting them up as a
defending one particular special interest,
timed,
and then
scheduled thing now going forward. Now that I have,
all government
hopefully,
agencies. In fact,
this
that's
is
considered
working
the
correctly
normal
on your
business
side as well. It looks like it is to me. I'm just laying in the dark layers here, by the way. I'm just blocking in some stuff that will later be covered. But yeah, I hope it's working correctly on your side. Leave a comment, let me know if that's cool.
told in passing laws that the corporation would have passed had the corporation been
And now I'm
government.
going to also block in.
Sadly, this phenomenon is all too common today, and it's not specific to just one industry. Rather, it seems that many of the agencies which have the power to influence our daily lives are corrupted by the revolving door.
When you have delegated power to
And now what I do,
government officials and agencies to regulate the economy, it always leads to corruption. It's too tempting for people not to
adding
use
in that
that
extra
power for their own personal agendas. And the revolving door is merely proof of the fact
underlying layer
that
of
when you
darkness.
give government and its agencies the power to regulate commerce, always will lead to corruption.
9/10 of all federal law is
I'm just
not
gonna
the product of those we elect.
let me
Rather, the product
remember
of the
where
unelected
his wrinkles
heads
are.
of these
That's all.
bureaucratic agencies. So we do not have
Did I come back to you guys? I did. Alright, good. I'm both recording this down onto the computer and onto YouTube, so the live stream will stay up until I edit the final video to re-put up. And the final video will probably be just a little bit quicker with less of this jibber-jabber.
Whether it's agriculture, whether it's broadcasting, whether it's pharmaceutical, whether it's retail,
Okay,
you name the field, a few control the law.
Laws and regulations are essential to any modern society. There are some activities that need to be controlled or prevented for the sake of the common good. Which side of the road you can drive. Whether a 5-year-old should be able to buy a bottle of Jack. How many return trips you can make to a buffet in a single sitting. Okay, maybe scratch that last one, but you get the idea.
Okay, so that was the sketch layer
between regulators and the industries
that I brought down. Now I've laid that over the top of it. Now I'm going to get rid of that. No, actually, I'm going to leave the undersketch for now, but I am going to bring this down a little bit and do another dark layer just like that.
There is little done by the
also, on my Instagram, for a little while now, I've been doing sketch giveaways. It's a little more difficult with digital because, I mean, I can send you the sketch, but that doesn't, I don't know, feels like it's not as much as a traditional sketch sometimes when it comes to receiving it as a prize. But how it works is kind of like this. You send me a message or a comment or whatever, really, and tell me a character that I haven't drawn, or tell me a character you would love to see me draw, or a person, or a photo of a friend, a photo of yourself, whatever, something you would want me to draw. I look through the ones I receive and the suggestions I get. You can just send me a couple of word suggestion is fine, and I'll pick the ones I like and try to do them live. If not, I'll do them just when not live. And you get the final piece. You get the final piece is how it worked on Instagram. I guess here I could send you a large copy of the file that you could get printed.
Resources are allocated in a less than optimal way.
Or if it ends up being something that I do get printed, you get a copy of the print.
If you can pay enough money, you can make sure that you win on whatever issue you are concerned about. Maybe it's stopping legislation, maybe it's to get something passed, but ultimately you're looking to shape.
But what that takes is policy. People actually sending in their ideas. It took a
really
while for people on Instagram to get to it, but finally it started to flow, and it's pretty good. I do 1 or 2 a week on Instagram, art giveaways. And well, when I'm not busy, on busy weeks I'm too busy finishing commission work to make money. And yeah, on here I would like to move into doing the same.
Big government is in a collusion with big agriculture. There were never any scientific studies that determined that GMO food is equivalent to conventionally grown food. The Food and Drug Administration in the United States said, well, Monsanto has
I'm
vouched
going to bring
for
up
the
the
safety
size of this
of
brush
GMO food.
and bring down the opacity of the brush and go in
That's big business and big government together.
and give more shadow.
But
Just large
some small, independent
blocks
farmers are
of
choosing
shadow
not to use patented GMO crops
for right
or
now.
work for larger agribusiness concerns. Some just want to supply their local area with nutritious, farm-fresh food. One such farmer is Joel Salatin. He runs his farm based on an innovative and radical new technique which he calls letting his animals out to pasture. Sounds crazy, but maybe he's onto something.
We have a very different set of production.
So this conspiracy documentary didn't get as heavily
First of all,
crazy as I expected, but I mean it is still talking about government conspiracy of do we have the right to choose what we're actually purchasing, or is it like decided by committee before it ever gets to us, so we kind of have to get what they've given
the
us.
carbon cycle, animals move around, the lack of pharmaceuticals, all of that is 180 degrees different than today's industrial global petroleum-based food.
Alright, now I'm not minding how it looks.
It turns out there is a healthy
So I'm going to bring it up
market
just
for
a little
traditionally
bit.
farmed meat and produce. So why are there so few independent farms operating around the country?
The story of Chicago and its great stockyards symbolized the amazing economic revolution.
Shadow layer over that.
On the farms, machines and improved techniques of agriculture began to produce an abundance of food for consumption both at home and abroad. The new world of mass production required increasing concentrations
More
of capital.
shadow under here
Pooling the
than is
investments of
actually in
many
the
people,
reference.
the corporation became the
More
means of
shadow on the
starting
back
vast
than is actually in
new
the
enterprises.
reference.
The globalization and corporatization of everything is gradually
Much more shadow right
making
here.
it more and more difficult for independent farmers.
Like I said, it's like shadow is light is going to be coming from this direction.
To their neighbors, to friends, to family, to whatever.
Kind of the
And,
idea
you do
that I'm
think
running with here.
every day about what bureaucrat is going to invade my life today. Every single time the government penetrates the marketplace, it always favors the biggest players because they're the ones that are able to buy favors to curry concessionary privileges in a regulatory climate. And so I know that many of the consumer advocacy folks mean well when they say
Advocacy.
we need more oversight, we need more regulations for this bad thing that happened over here.
I love different
What
pronunciations
they don't
of words.
realize is that by the time that regulation actually gets enacted,
I'm also
and
going to just add in
filters down
some shadow there.
level, it always, always, always hurts small producers and helps the large producers.
It's the revolving door. Don't eat healthy, only eat crap. A few companies control everything. There's only a small group of agribusiness companies that control the entire food production.
And now I'm going to
They're putting everybody out of business. They don't want any competition.
The small farmer is always a threat. If 50 million people in the United States
the
decide
background
on their
color
own that they were
I
prepared
want.
to buy their produce from small farmers or at farmers markets because they think it's healthier, that's a defection out of the system.
There.
Government doesn't want that.
I'll go with that.
Certainly doesn't
So
want
now the
to
whole
put
thing
money
is
into big agribusiness.
kind of blocked, and I want
So better to do everything
to get rid of the
possible
sketch
to wipe out
underneath
the
now,
small
I
farmers
think.
in America.
Well, I
Make 'em
really
go
like
bankrupt,
how
they
it
will
looks.
sell his land, which is then taken
Maybe
over
what I'll
by
do
some
is,
agricultural
for right now,
entity.
duplicate it out,
Until then,
and
the entire food chain is controlled
erase
by big
a couple
corporations
portions.
and big government.
Almost there on the face, but I don't mind. I like the edginess to stay around the hair,
Have created a hurdle which limits the size and
because
scope of his operation.
well, I just like it.
And whether these regulations are well intended or imposed just to give an unfair
Okay, now I'm gonna go up to the top
the
and
end result
grab
is that many of the products Joel would like to
something
sell
else.
have been deemed
White.
illegal.
The things that we would
I'm
like
gonna
to
keep
do,
this really low
curing
on
meat
the
to
opacity, so it's
selling
gonna
raw
stay
milk,
down
for
around
example. We would love
11.
to sell raw milk.
And I'm gonna bring
And
the
we
flow
have
down a little
customers
bit
who
more.
love to get raw milk, but it's illegal.
Now, let's see how much you
We
can
just
see
had a
there.
health department inspector. They told us that our slaughtering shed for the poultry was illegal and wanted to close us down. And their contention was that if it's actually open to the air, it's inherently unsanitary.
Maybe that's a little too light.
What's fascinating is
Bring it back
a
up to 20.
feedlot in deplorable conditions with no trespassing signs gets away with almost anything, but because we
Also, I'm
are
thinking to start,
transparent,
maybe we have a
outdoors,
specific
out here,
discussion
it
on
makes us
topics
vulnerable to the
while I'm
efforts
live,
of
because
ignorant people.
why not be chatting with other people instead of just talking to myself?
If these regulations are limiting your choices, how come you can walk down any aisle in the supermarket and find dozens of different brands and hundreds of different foods? I mean, how much choice do we really need?
The average person
don't
walks into the supermarket,
think that's the
right?
point of
And
what
they
they're
see
saying,
all
though.
this stuff on the shelf. They say, "What do you mean I don't have choice? I can get Count Chocula breakfast cereal, Fruit Loops, Cracker Jacks, whatever. Okay, I can get potato chips from 10 different companies."
Did you say Cracker Jacks?
What do you mean I don't have choice?
Is that a throwback?
And so it's a hard sell because people have a hard time understanding what they can't get.
It's the illusion of choice.
What you can't get is raw milk. What you can't get is backyard slaughtered poultry that never went through a great big processing plant. There's a tremendous amount of artisanal heritage type food that is unavailable now because it has been criminalized and outlawed.
In the end, it comes down to risk. Some things, like raw milk, are just too risky to let out to the public. After all, contaminated raw milk could theoretically be as harmful as poison.
Oh. I forgot to
Actual poison, on the other hand, is
do my
very
live while I was away. There you go.
If you want to talk about risk,
Oh, I'm back.
isn't it fascinating that the very entity that gave us DBT, that gave us mad cow, that gave us cloning, that gave
I'm
us
going to put the
GMOs,
white just directly
these are
into the
very
hair
risky things. I mean, whether or not you believe in them or
of
not,
this.
you have to appreciate.
Again,
those
this
are
layer is
all
going to be very
high
much
risk
reduced,
things.
so
And they are the ones.
it's not the
that will
final
say,
look,
I want to put my faith in you for my food.
but I want to make sure.
I think people participate in risky behavior all the time. You know, I think if you're feeding your kids pasteurized milk, Cocoa Puffs, Count Chocula cereal, and Fruit Loops, that's risky behavior. But the government has decided that that's not risky behavior. What's risky behavior is
What I want to do is, remember that light that I said I was going to put like a halo of light?
When it comes down to it,
Did I actually say that? I thought it in my head.
Big a deal. I mean, who needs raw milk when you can get
Like the
deep
hair that's
fried
out here
mozzarella sticks or tasty chicken fingers?
is going to be basically white.
After all, food is food, right?
If you can hear that, that's my cat climbing around in the background there.
When the first USDA food pyramid came
So you can
out,
kind of
grains
see
on
the light
bottom.
through the hair.
That was the beginning of the obesity and type 2 epidemic because it put carbohydrates on the bottom. And you know, it's quite a profound reality that America today would be far, far healthier if the government had never told us what to eat.
So maybe you overdo it slightly on the saturated fats and imitation cheese. Who cares? We've got access to the best drugs in the world. Whether you have a resting heart rate of 116,
It's a bad way to look at
that
it.
third cheeseburger has you sweating like Shaq at the line, or you're just feeling queasy from all the drugs you're taking, there are drugs out there to help you.
Okay, now I'm going to bring that down a little bit.
There's one area where we want
Toss in
strict
another layer.
regulations. It's pharmaceuticals. After all,
This
no one
layer
wants
I'm going
unseen
to
medicine getting out
just try some stuff out.
There are, of
Again,
course,
this is sketch
several
pages, so I try
are helpful,
to not be
but
afraid to
what
just jump in and do
concerns me
new
is
things
that
while doing them.
significant minority-
Same way my traditional streams go, I might move from pencil to pen to marker
over the FDA's own medical
and like
reviewers' objections.
erase half of a photo and restart.
And many
Happens a lot.
have been admitted into the marketplace.
Just because you get that feeling, and it's just a sketch, so I mean, it doesn't really hurt the world or destroy anybody for you to just stop and try something else.
And are approved yearly.
Like right now, I'm moving more light back to this side of the face because I'm noticing that if I still want the halo,
tens of thousands of deaths, was
I'm
swiftly
gonna need to lighten it
pulled
up a
from the
lot
market
more.
after only 5 years. And 2.5
And by halo, I
billion
don't mean like
profit
a
for the pharmaceutical giant
angel
Merck.
halo.
When an FDA commissioner
I mean the
knowingly
light
approves
rim
an
around
unsafe
the
drug like
piece.
Vioxx, he keeps it on the market even though there are 140,000 heart attacks.
Also, because I haven't been doing this on YouTube, and I've only been doing this on Instagram, I have no idea who I'm talking to here on YouTube. So if you're watching this, leave a comment, say hi. Let me know if you're an artist, if you're a singer, well, whatever you are. Just say hi. And let me know how you found my channel, maybe. If I forced you to subscribe, or if a friend told you to, or if you just happened to find me because of your love of Joker, or if you found me because I did a commission piece for you, or I've been at a party you were at, possibly as the Joker.
Perhaps the Vioxx incident was just a one-off event. There are a whole host of helpful drugs.
I'm only going to do a couple more layers on this, and then call it quits.
It's not like this is happening regularly.
I have other things that I actually need to get finished today as well. I have a video to edit.
Pharmaceutical drugs that are everywhere in America, they're safe and effective.
And some web comic things to do.
Drugstores, that's why people ingest them. Well, 106,000 people every year in the United States are killed by FDA-approved pharmaceutical drugs. The FDA admits this on their own website, but they say nothing about taking responsibility for it. It's just another medical fact to them.
Now again, where I'm putting this over that, I want to draw back in the dark paint over the top of this, so it looks like it's actually over the top of some white makeup. That makes sense. Should make sense.
These are bottles which finally will find their way to doctors' offices and clinics all over the country. Even as they reach the end of the production line, other tests are in progress and samples are sent to the government. The manufacturer's protocol is first reviewed, then subjected to a whole battery of complex scientific tests.
The FDA's whole system of drug review is bogus. It's designed to protect and advance the interests of the drug industry. A lot of people don't realize this, but FDA never tests the drugs it approves. FDA does no independent testing at all.
Yeah, that sounds conspiracy theory.
It relies entirely on the testing done by the drug advocate, the proponent of the drug application, that has a self-interest and a conflict of interest. That party is looked to for all.
Not sure exactly how true that is.
They do their own testing.
Usually I watch horror movies while doing my live streams over on Instagram, and maybe I will move into doing that over here as well, if that would be more sensible.
Outsourcing the testing to the drug companies themselves? After all, if you can't trust a multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical conglomerate, who can you trust?
There have been multiple instances of corruption in this process where negative information
Trying to be funny.
Kept away
The Crowley documentary I was trying to get running was certainly not trying to be funny. They were getting right to the heart of things right away. It's just like I said, there was a lot of reading on the screen, so that gets me while I'm drawing. I don't mind watching something in subtitles if I'm not.
There were FBI investigations.
I don't have it on just for background noise.
What did the FDA do? The medical reviewers said to the commissioner, gee, they relied on a fraud for this application. We should deny it. But the FDA commissioner granted it. He put Keytech into the market. So you see, it's that degree of influence and corruption that makes it impossible for the American people to be protected.
With drugs being approved by the FDA, despite the objection of their own medical reviewers, there can be little doubt the revolving door is alive and well in the pharmaceutical industry. And just in case you do have some tiny shred of doubt remaining, consider the case of Billy Taza. You may
I will
want to
consider
have
this
some
case.
anti-nausea pills on standby.
Congressman Billy Taza, who was the head of the Energy and Commerce Committee in the House, he was the man assigned the task of
I'm gonna
ensuring
add in. Okay, actually, let me just pull back up the reference here.
that would prevent the entire
Add in a
government from
few of these.
down
Oh well,
the
that's
per
right
unit
on the
price
money.
of drugs
And
required
add in a few of those.
under Medicare Part D, based on volume. So in other words, they're forced
I would do
to
this in
pay
several layers
whatever
as well.
price the drug industry sets per unit for the drugs purchased under Medicare Part D. And that is something that could.
Oh, there's actually much more to this reference than I thought, so I could come back and finish this up as a full piece.
This provision was put into the law in the Bush administration.
And actually, this should be totally different because of that. Okay, well, in that case, I'm going to just quickly put these in.
Paid to that date, $2.5 million a year as a compliment for his selling out the nation to protect the drug industry.
And reduce
So
that.
while the government may be choosing, often poorly,
Go to next
which
layer.
food and drugs they think are safe for us to have, at least they're
And
trying to force them.
go to.
Except perhaps for vaccines.
Actually, this one I'm going to bring it up
George Lambert
a lot
is a representative
at the
of
75
New Hampshire State House.
and just
He is
select
a
these
leading
colors
proponent for vaccination choice in his state.
and just fix this down a little bit because
Vaccination choice. The more research I did, the more I found out that in the risk of an epidemic, they can go out and vaccinate everyone without choice.
To say that vaccines are compulsory, which in the U.S.
But
is a struggle right now. Every state has their own.
yeah, okay. I'm not going to talk about vaccines.
But now the push is on to say that we're going to
The illusion of choice.
whether you like it or not. You don't have the freedom to decide.
If we talk about medical safety and freedom, everybody should have the choice.
This is just me extending the picture a little bit.
You can get a medical exclusion, you can get a religious exclusion, but you can't get a conscientious exclusion. We had an issue in New Hampshire a couple years ago where there were some injections that were contaminated that might actually contain meningitis. But if you were required to get a vaccination or an injection, how do you know the injection isn't contaminated? But if you want your children to go to school or participate in any of these other activities,
Now I'm going to bring it back down.
or you're excluded. That's a problem. Because when the news says there's something that puts your life at risk,
And
you
just
should be able to make an educated decision.
give some feeling to that, like
That's what
it's
freedom really comes down to in the end.
not
Freedom to decide,
blunt.
good or bad, how you want to live. And that freedom should not be overruled by the government, except in the most extreme cases, or to keep us safe from the most diabolical of threats.
Hey.
Ganja, joint, doobie, doob, chronic, ace, lobo, logo, love boat, bud, Buddha, blood, pot,
All right, and now I'm going to go to another layer.
zero, and hashish, or hash for short. No matter what you call it, no matter what
Dark color.
it's referred to by, it all comes from the same stash. It's all marijuana.
Marijuana, one of the most dangerous drugs known to mankind. Responsible for almost as many deaths per year as asteroids or shark attacks, it can cause an otherwise healthy adult to giggle, get a bit hungry. Thankfully, the brave men and women from numerous agencies have been waging a tireless and expensive war against this dangerous plant for decades.
Here we are.
War
On my
drugs
dark
is
layer.
for other people. It's a war to fight for the pharmaceutical industry, so they could sell their psychotropic drugs. I mean, Jesus, how many people that I hear horror stories from their children whacked down on Vicodin? Oh, that's a beaut. Yeah, have a little Oxycontin, gonna make you happy. Feel some pain, this will get rid of it. But don't get high, man. No weed, it's gonna kill you. You still reefer madness.
Reefer Madness is a
All right.
celebrated PhD produced for the U.S. government. Known for
Now I'm going to
its
go in with
even-handed
a
and
full black.
unbiased approach to the subject of marijuana, which it claims is
And
worse than heroin. It
put
saved
back in some of the
generations from
makeup
dangers
over
of
the
marijuana.
top.
Even a single puff of Mary Jane can make you dance like a fool.
Now this is all just for tonal stuff. To color this, I I go through a long process of just changing these colors.
Normal is a non-profit organization whose aim is to legalize
But I like to make sure I have all the tones of a picture down before I do that.
There are 800,000 people arrested in the United States on marijuana charges, 90% for possession only. So over a 40-year period now, that's roughly 27 million people have been arrested on marijuana charges. So it's created a huge universe of people who have been effectively screwed by the government.
Well, yes.
When we sued the DEA in the classic case Normal versus DEA, the judge ruled in 1988 in his final decision that marijuana, quote, is the safest therapeutic substance known to man. That's a pretty strong indictment against the rest of the drugs.
So the courts acknowledge that marijuana is the most therapeutic substance known to man. But since as early as the 1930s, marijuana has been the subject of countless heavy-handed and fallacious propaganda.
It's so true.
Long-term use of marijuana will lead to a psychological dependency. Soon, you'll be taking all sorts of measures to get your fix. People will start calling you names like Pothead or Smoky McBongwater.
Smoky McBongwater. That's the name of my next cat.
Take a sudden liking to sitar music and maybe even get felt up by a cop or two.
Marijuana has been propagandized by the United States government and its surrogates at the state level for at least 75 years. There are 1,200 Partnership for Drug
Can't remember if it drips on both ends there.
85 to 90% of those ads have been against marijuana. The name alone, Drug-Free America, deserves nothing but pure laughter. Drug-free America. This is the most drug-addled society in human history. And the Drug-Free America Association was originally founded by the alcohol, tobacco, and pharmaceutical companies, which, last I checked, their business model is distributing drugs.
Personal feelings about marijuana aside, there is no denying the fact that criminalization of the substance bears little parity with other substances in the same area, such as alcohol or tobacco. But with all the millions being spent on preventing its use and prosecuting individuals who use it, who stands to gain?
There are entities out there that strongly lobby for the status quo to stay in
I
place.
think that'll be it for now. I don't want to continue with it so much right now, and so let's just walk back through all the steps.
Partnership for Drug-Free America, the
Sketch.
the DEA, the Drug Czar's office. They will all
First layer.
legalization. 3
Or wait.
would be the alcohol, tobacco,
Yeah.
pharmaceutical
Sketch with
companies
pieces
that
erased,
play both
right?
ends of the middle. They try to start things like the Partnership for Drug-Free America, but pretty
First
clearly
dark layer, second dark layer, third dark layer, fourth one light layer,
companies that are able to make
another
money
light layer,
off of the prohibition.
additions,
Private prison,
and final dark layer for now. I may come back and do more with this.
because if you get
I am
caught
not
with
sure.
marijuana,
The video itself is running at almost an hour now, so I don't want to go further than that, really.
or you go to rehab. Well, even the director of Normal, if I got caught by police with a small amount of marijuana, or given a choice between going to jail and going to
That is
rehab,
that.
I'm gonna
Let's
pick
see
rehab.
if I can.
So 80% of their clientele are effectively pushed in the door by the government. So this is an incestuous relationship that has been set up between the drug rehabilitation profiteers and the government that brings their clients right to their door. And we, the taxpayers, pay for the rehabilitation.
Now, in the language the addicts use among themselves, they never say to each other, let's smoke a marijuana cigarette. They say, let's turn on or let's blast a joint.
As with drinking raw milk, smoking a marijuana cigarette carries with it obvious health risks. But whether you want to blast a J or buy an outdoor slaughtered chicken from your local farmer, powerful lobbying groups have colluded with regulatory agencies to limit your freedom of choice.
When the government violently kicks down your door and comes onto your property with guns drawn, trying to get you to stop engaged in certain behavior harming nobody else, that is a social injustice. I personally think of cannabis as just a metaphor for freedom. I think of it almost purely at this point now as a discussion over personal freedom and how much can the government intervene in your life and intervene violently with guns drawn.
Okay, we've talked a lot about food and medicine and Lobo, but enough of that hippie talk. Everyone knows the world revolves around one thing and one thing only.
I don't even know what I'm doing right now.
I mean, money.
I just noticed I have 4 minutes left to an hour, and I thought I'd make it a clean hour.
But similar to independent farmers, small firms in the financial sector also face heavy regulations which benefit
The reason I still classify it as a sketch. I mean, it's a sketch. It's a very sketchy and not a finished looking piece. Although I do have a style where I like to, like, if I colored this, if I had started this with color, yeah, maybe this would work out because it would look more like an abstract style of paint. Abstract? Maybe not abstract. It would look like a style of painting. And if I had been able to use the other brush, or not been able to if I had chose to, I suppose. But right now it looks like a painting, but also doesn't look like a painting, because quickly it becomes obvious that it's not finished when you zoom in on it.
They're peddling their influence. They go to Washington to get influence, to make friends, and then they sell.
But also there's like this artist part of me that, well, when I see other people's like unfinished work and unfinished sketches, I don't know, I love it. It's almost like you can see more emotion in the unfinished lines or something.
For example, the current Secretary of the Treasury, Jacob Lew, was
But
reportedly given a $950,000 bonus
yeah,
by his former employer, Citigroup.
like for instance, if I were to zoom out on this a little bit right here, it's like that. I like it. I would hang that on my wall. From a distance, that would look great. Zoom back in. This is where we were drawing at. But if I go in a little bit further, you can really see the lines and the sketchiness of it. Like the direct, straight lines here.
If you want to see the proof of fashion.
So what I would do to move this from a sketch to a finished piece, or to a closer to finished piece, the next step would be to zoom in here and actually start with a darker brush and paint over the top of this again. I'd probably go with colors in that case. If you think I should do that, or you'd like to see this one finished, again, leave a comment, tell me. Looking at my screen here, it looks a little darker on the screen than it does on my computer. Maybe I actually have my screen turned down. Hold on. I'm going to check. I do have my screen turned down a little bit. Yeah, no, it looks pretty close to what I'm seeing, is what you're seeing. Yeah. Again, sorry about the hiccups at the beginning. And if you made it through this, awesome to you. If you have not yet subscribed to my page and enjoyed this, hopefully expect a lot more now that this is actually running from my OBS. Yeah, that is it for right now. Also, I think Let me just look at the reference again.
demanded stricter regulations on the
I think if I were to go in and finish this as well, right now this sketch looks fine, but if I wanted to look a little more
believes that not only was Wall Street to blame,
like
but
him,
more
I'd
importantly,
probably
it was the regulators
push this
colluding with the
chin in
financial
a
industry
bit
who are responsible for the
more.
crisis.
Okay, anyway, that's it. Now I'm just talking for no reason.
That created the problem.
Thank you for watching.
I was talking about the coming housing crisis in 2002, 3, 4,
Please do
5,
come back. Follow me online.
exactly how the government and the Fed were creating the problem. So now said we didn't have enough
And
regulation.
yeah,
Where were they back then? Why didn't they say we needed more regulation in 2004,
that's great.
2005? The fact of the matter is, it was the regulations that were in place that caused the problem.
Thanks. And that's going to be it. I'm going to hit save. Oh, by the way, periodically while doing this, I hit Control S to save the piece. And just to explain before finishing, if you made it this far, you might as well listen. The reason I've been doing it on Instagram more so than YouTube is because streaming on Instagram is so simple. They don't often drop during a live stream, and it's better than my YouTube experiences had been. The reason I've now chosen to move to YouTube, however, is because Instagram has been dropping and it has been crashing while live streaming, and when you get 40 minutes into a live stream and something crashes and you lose it and you can no longer use it, and oh, that just gets so annoying. And it's happened a couple of times now. You'll see me posting videos about it and videos of the streams that I actually managed to save from Instagram. I must have 20 now that have to go up here on my YouTube, and over to my Patreon in full form. Like this, you will get this in full form. In fact, you might be listening to it there now. Alright, thank you for watching, and as usual with my Insta, I'll do it with my YouTube. Da 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 da. Quack.